The phantom train of the Appalachian tunnels. The Appalachian Mountains have always held their secrets close. Mist curls like memory along the ridges, and valleys echo with the sounds of things long gone. Wind, water, and sometimes whispers that don't belong to the living. It was in the late autumn of 1889 that the legend began. A year when the coal towns of western Virginia and eastern Kentucky were choking with dust and smoke, and the railroad was the only thread tying them to the rest of the world. The line that cut through Black Hollow was newly built then, a stretch of track that wound between sheer cliffs and plunged into the earth through a tunnel blasted straight into the mountain. The company called it Tunnel 9. The locals called it the Mouth of God. On October 13th, just before midnight, the 97 freight train left Harlan Junction bound north, hauling iron, timber, and the pay chest for the miners at Red Elk Camp. 53 men were aboard, engineers, brakemen, and hired guards to protect the gold. The weather was turning. Rain slicked the rails, and fog rolled so thick it seemed the world ended just beyond the lamplight. Somewhere between Black Hollow and the mouth of Tunnel 9, the train vanished. It entered the tunnel before midnight. It never came out. When dawn came, searchers found the entrance choked with collapsed stone. Smoke still rose from the cracks, and the air smelled of burnt oil and metal. The mountain had swallowed the train whole. For days, rescue crews worked to dig through, but the rock was too unstable. The ground shifted, and the shafts collapsed again. By the 5th day, the company declared it hopeless. They sealed the tunnel with timbers and stone, and left a wooden cross at the mouth for the lost crew. The mine whistles blew again the next week, and life went on. But the mountain remembered. Winter came early that year. The snow was heavy and mean, breaking roofs and silencing the forest. The miners in Black Hollow said they could hear something under the ground when the nights turned bitter, a low rumble, like thunder, that grew and faded without warning. At first, they thought it was shifting ice. Then one night, a woman named Clara Fitch swore she heard a whistle. She lived in a cabin less than a mile from the sealed tunnel. Her husband was among the dead, one of the brakemen lost in the collapse. She told the preacher that she woke to the sound of the train passing by, the exact pitch of the whistle she'd known all her life, followed by the faint clang of couplings and the hiss of steam. When she opened her door, the valley was empty, only the snow, unbroken and still. By morning, her footprints led halfway down the trail toward the tunnel and stopped. No one saw her again. Come spring, more people began to talk. Loggers camped along the ridge said they saw a light deep in the fog, a single lamp swinging through the woods. It moved too smoothly to be a man, too steady to be a trick of the weather. A deputy named Amos Ward rode out one night to see for himself. He found the tunnel sealed and quiet, the timber cross leaning in the wind. But when he knelt to study the ground, he felt a faint vibration through the earth, a rhythm like steel wheels on iron rails. He left his lantern burning by the entrance and rode back at dawn. When he returned for it, the glass was shattered. The wick was gone. By 1892, the phantom train had become a story told around every hearth from Harlan to Bristol. Travelers swore that on fog-heavy nights, they could see the engine blaze to life, a black locomotive, glowing red from within, smoke curling around its stack like a shroud. It moved without sound, without rails, across fields and valleys, vanishing whenever anyone approached. Old men swore it was a warning. The souls of the men lost beneath the mountain, cursed to run their route until the end of time. Others whispered it was something older, something that had been sleeping in the rock long before the mines ever came. Either way, the valley never grew quiet again. In 1901, the railroad company decided to reopen the tunnel. They needed the line, and superstition didn't pay dividends. A crew of 30 men set up camp along the ridge, and within a week they'd broken through to the old chamber. The air that poured out was foul, thick with the stench of rot and sulfur. They found fragments of wood, bits of twisted metal, and one rail driven straight into the wall like a spear. No bones, no gold. No trace of the 53 who had gone in. The foreman, a man named Ellis Trumbley, kept his men working through the night to clear the debris. Near dawn, one of the laborers screamed. The others came running to find him pointing into the tunnel. At the far end, half shrouded in dust and shadow, a light was moving, steady and bright, like a headlamp. It grew closer, though no sound followed it. The men froze, hearts pounding, until the foreman shouted for them to run. When they turned back, the light was gone. By morning, the crew had scattered. The company sealed the tunnel again, this time with concrete. Ellis Trumbley was found a week later, sitting on the tracks outside town, eyes open, face gray as ash. He'd burned his hands down to blisters clutching a steel lantern that was still cold. Years passed. The world moved on. Cars replaced carriages, electricity came to the hills, and the old line rusted into ruin. But the stories never stopped. Campers who strayed too close to the tunnels said they woke to the smell of burning oil. Some claimed they heard chains rattling in the dark. One boy in 1937 said he saw the whole train glide through the valley, bright as fire, yet silent, the silhouettes of men visible through the windows staring straight ahead. When he ran home, he swore he could still feel the ground trembling under his feet. He left town that same year and never returned. Now, more than a century later, the tunnel still stands, sealed by stone and moss, hidden by forest. The wooden cross rotted long ago, but locals still avoid the place. They say animals won't go near it, and no birds sing on the ridge above. Hikers who camp too close sometimes hear a whistle echo through the valley around midnight, low and mournful, fading into the trees. A few claim that if you listen closely, beneath the wind and the rustle of leaves, you can hear voices, not cries, but orders shouted over steam and thunder. And if you follow the sound too far, you'll find yourself standing before the mouth of the mountain, staring into a darkness so deep it seems to breathe. Sometimes they say, if the night is still and your heart is quiet enough, you'll see it. A dim light deep within the tunnel, growing brighter, brighter still, until the air vibrates and your bones ache, and you realize it's coming straight toward you. Then, as suddenly as it began, it's gone. Only the echo remains. They call it the phantom train of the Appalachian tunnels. Some say it's nothing but a story, a ghost born of tragedy and time, but others, they still hear it. The rumble beneath the earth, the whistle carried on the wind. And when the fog rolls low through the valleys, swallowing the tracks and the trees alike, those who live nearby lock their doors and turn away from the mountains. Because in those moments, when the world grows still and the night hums like steel, they know the truth. The train never stopped, it's still running. And somewhere beneath the Appalachian stone, 53 souls are still waiting for the signal to clear.